Good morning, traders. Welcome back to another live stream, man. Happy Monday, guys. If you are new here, my name is Zach. This is Real Deal Futures. Before we hop on these charts, as I adjust my camera like I'm usually doing, first thing as we get started, on this beautiful April 13th, Monday, April 13th. Make sure you view this on the screen. Trading is risky. Most traders do lose money. I am not a financial advisor. I'm just an idiot here, yapping on YouTube, Kick, X, wherever else we're streaming for entertainment purposes only. Always do your own research. Make your own trading decisions. Read CFTC Rule 4.41 on simulated trading, which is what this is, even in funded prop firm accounts, and the partnership and affiliate disclaimer that says I stand to make money from links and codes in my content, like Top 1 Futures code RDF, Bookmap, and others. Can't be unbiased if I stand to make money, which I do. Important for me to note that for you to do your own research, make your own decisions. Chat, y'all ready for this week, man? I don't know. I don't know if we're ready for this week, bro. I don't know, bro. This is getting out of hand. It's getting really out of hand, guys. Chat, how are we doing this morning? How are we doing this morning? I'm excited to be here live with you, as I always am. I am excited to trade. I am eternally grateful that I have somehow ended up in a situation where I genuinely enjoy what I do here with you guys. I really am. Paul, what's up? The DX, what's up? Chris, what's up? Jamie, what's up? Afters, Dwayne, Purple Ninja, Jake, A. Moore's Fit, Trade for Learning, what's up? RDF is the best. RDF, let's go, guys. Good morning, Vertigo, Grandma Trades, what's up? 30MD, what's up? Every day above ground is a great day. Listen, bro, every day, Purple Ninja, man, with the facts. Every day above ground is a great day, man. Making money, losing money. Enjoying what you're doing like I am here, staring at the charts, trading, trying to make some damn money, not enjoying what you're doing. Man, if you're alive, you are in a good spot, right? It's not always, doesn't always feel that way. I'll agree with that, but we gotta try to cultivate that mindset. All right, guys, let's start talking markets. That was the good mornings. Y'all are awesome. I appreciate you. Let's talk about what we got going on here. I'm excited to talk about a couple things, couple different things I got loaded up here today. In a minute, I'm going to talk about some new stuff that I am utilizing as of over the weekend. Was testing with it, and then this morning, really excited about this, man. Really excited about this. But first, let's get technical analysis in. We're here on time. Got about 6 minutes to NYSE open, 6-7 minutes. Let's talk about it, guys. News real quick, just to go over scheduled news events before we get into the crazy breaking news events that I see right now on what I want to talk about with you guys. Ooh, really cool to see. No scheduled news events for today. Obviously, we have a ton of stuff going on in the geopolitical conflict. Obviously, the U.S. is all over the map right now, and we're going to talk about that. Let's talk markets quick. Technicals first. Just going around the horn on these, seeing what's changed since I've been getting set up here. Yeah, we're pretty much looking the same. YM was this harsh pullback and then right back up. So, overnight session, what happened? Closed out the week after a big bullish push to the upside, right? Positive reaction from the market on Iran news. We had pretty choppy last couple of days, right, to end out the week after this really big push to the upside. Talked a lot about that last week. This was still looking bullish, right? We still were continuing to break highs outside of Friday, where we kind of sold off a bit and closed near the lows. Somewhat similar on NQ. I'm going to talk about YM and NQ here this morning. Somewhat similar on NQ. Over the weekend and yesterday, right, Saturday, Sunday, we had some negative news. We had some negative information come out on that situation with Iran, right? Lot of comments on that, a lot of commentary on that without going into too much detail. But I would have to assume that that's some of the reason that we opened up gap down 450 points in YM. We opened up with a physical gap down on NQ. Damn near, when I opened up the chart, it was 350 points down. But we actually traded 1,700 ticks, 426 426-ish, 425-ish points from Friday's close. So a big gap down, really aggressive gap down on that news, right? On that information. And then what have we seen since in the overnight session? Just to finish it off, push to the upside, right? Usually after a gap, we're either going to get, you know, one of two things. Sometimes we get chop, we just settle and we wait for the market to open up. But usually we get one of two things through Asia, London, you know, especially on a weekly open. We get a continuation, right? You know, market start to open up and it just dumps, or we get what we're happening right here, you know, what's happening right here. A lot of traders just always go for the gap fill. They just will get long. You know, if we gap down, they'll get short if we gap up. I see a lot of traders, you know, this morning nursing positions from the overnight session. Ton of traders got long in here. I don't think that's a bad play. I did not take a trade last night. If I was going to take one, it would have been long, just that this was a really big reaction. And, you know, we have had some of those, but we've come back to correct a little bit on them. But I did not get involved last night. I wanted to watch what we had coming into the open here. So, getting ready to open up. Let's talk about what I'm looking at, and then also the tool that I'm utilizing this morning. Something really cool platform that I want to talk about with you guys. Yeah, so YM, you know, similar structure out of YM, really aggressive turn to the downside, and now following suit on the other U.S. indices, pushing back up here. You know, we got a couple options. Right? Well, first off, you know, what's the thesis? Like, what are we going to do for the day? Are we going to come up and finish filling this gap, right? Are we going to close at least to, you know, the low of Friday, if not, you know, where we closed on Friday on all of these? Are we going to finish closing this gap? It looks like we're trying to. Right? We're certainly making the case for it into this open. My mean revert, 15-minute. My mean reversion style trade on YM, right? You know, what am I going to look for? I wouldn't mind it either way. Today. It's not going to be pre-market high though. It's definitely not going to be pre-market high. It's going to be up here above this zone, back up to this level here, right? It's going to be filling the gap. It's going to be a short after we fill the gap. Now, I don't absolutely love that. If we come all the way through, completely erase that, I don't know that we don't just chill out up here, but I'll certainly go for that basic mean reversion style trade. So area of interest number one really for me is going to be, you know, into these lows, if not, you know, above this high from Friday, somewhere into this, you know, area of structure right here. This is going to be area of interest number one. We don't do that. If we turn and sell off, which I think we might, right into the open, I think we got a decent chance of that. If we, you know, just a quick turn back down, I'll look to long this thing. I will look to long it around pre-market lows. Why? I think that gives us a way to structure risk. I don't know whether the market's going to go up or down. Nobody does, right? We might create a bias. We might read some news, right? As we're talking about it, we might look at some overall higher time frame trends, some of the context, what's going on. But, you know, what I really, really love is to try to exploit a repeatable technical movement with a great way to structure risk. And this down here gives me that, right? If we come through this low, as we get ready to open up here in about 10 seconds, hope you guys all trade well today. As we open up here, if we come lower, right, and we come down and test this low, I got a good feeling that buyers will be down here, sellers will be down here, we'll have a little fight put up, and some side's gonna win. We're either gonna give this up and rip lower, and we're gonna make the case to potentially come all the way through this move, or we're gonna find buyers and pull back up, right? Opening up to the upside here, same thing up here, right? I think if we come all the way back through, fill this gap, which it looks like we're gonna try to do. So we're gonna try to do those overnight longs, man, getting paid. We come through, fill this gap, right? What do I think is gonna happen? Maybe we settle up here. I do think there's some, you know, some case to be made where we just kind of chop a little bit into the afternoon if we make it all the way back up here. But if we come all the way up, close this gap, I'd look for a short back down towards temporary volume point of control, right? Maybe back down towards VWAP, because I think we're either gonna continue higher or pull back down, right, from this area. Within this price action structure, I'm not too... Trading view is so slow. I'm not too excited to look for a trade. So, tool that I got rolling, what I was starting to yap about there, is News Squawk. News Squawk. Got that set up over the weekend. I was talking about trying to get a handle on breaking headlines and news as this stuff is coming in. And you could watch Financial Juice. You could watch forexfactory.com, right? But there's some really high-end curated live readouts, news sites that will give you really up to like the millisecond, like up to the second headlines and information, comments, breaking news, everything. Trump comments, Truth Social comments, Twitter that are, is going to be relative to the market. Of course, official headlines, scheduled news events, really, really cool stuff. And been listening to it all morning. I'm super excited. I'm going to be testing with it this week. I got a really good feeling that this is something that I'm going to be adding to my trading arsenal. If for no other reason, just to do what I was doing with the basic amount of news, but especially in this environment where we just have so much that is breaking and the market seems to consolidate on low volume and wait for the next big comment to come out of the current situation. So I actually kind of did want to listen to it into the open. I don't know if you guys are going to be able to hear this, and I don't want it to overlay my voice and the music that I have running, so I'm just going to test this real quick.
Connected to multi-asset channel.
Yeah, it is going to overlay. Hang on one second. Let me see.
Connected to audio test channel.
Yeah, it is. It's going to overlay.
Connected to multi-asset
Yeah, I know you guys can hear that. Okay. Yeah, I'm not going to be able to listen to it at the same time. I'll have to do it on like a separate an iPad or something on the side, or just a separate computer. But man, I'm excited to test with it this week. I'll just be able to watch it in real time. Excited to test with it this week. Nasty turn to the downside here on YM. And talk about it with you guys. I think it's really, 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 really interesting to see just how much the market is reacting to breaking headline news. And, if you're going to trade intraday on low time frames, how much is that going to be of help? Is knowing about it as quick as you possibly can, is really what I'm looking to see here. So it's cool. I'll be able to talk a little bit more about it as I use it more, right? Get comfortable with the platform, but it's pretty sweet. I'm definitely thinking it's something I'm gonna hold on to. But outside of that, guys, markets opened up here. Gonna give this some time on YM. Looking for the same style of trade that I look to take. NQ making the case to fill this gap. Bulls are getting paid, man. I know a lot of people took that long, and doesn't always play out like this, but man, when it does, it sure is nice. What a beautiful setup that would have been for a 250 point move, even if you got long up here as we started to break. Very nice. Very nice. YM much choppier than these. So again, if you hopped on late, welcome to the show. We are going to try to navigate these absolutely wild markets here. I'm looking roughly in here. If we come all the way up and fill the gap, right? This would be area of interest number 1 today, right? Looking at the lower time frames here. And this is going to be area of interest number 2 down here. Higher time frame levels are on the chart. If you are in Discord, you got my Sunday levels email, first one of the series. You guys got my daily chart, my 15-minute chart, a little bit of commentary on the markets. Excited to be rolling that out with you guys. Fun stuff. Let's see. Hope a W today. Yeah, listen, guys. We're gonna take L's, we're gonna take W's, right? We don't know what day is gonna be what. All we can hope for, and I think that's an awesome thing to say, but what I would say even more so than hoping for a W, hoping for good execution, hoping for a good read of the tools that you use, hoping for a good structuring of risk, structuring, accepting, and managing that risk, right? We're gonna take back-to-back L's, right? And that means we maybe are trading exceptionally well, and we're just having to take normal losses on the way to the next W, right? Good morning, good morning. What's up, guys? What's up, Glenn B? What's happening? Ignacio, what's up? Hansel, what's up? Tom Ward, good morning. Pam, good morning. Get the likes up, guys. You know it. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Will the Trader, Maritime Trades, what's up, guys? Welcome to the show. Welcome to the show. What's up on Kick? What's up on X? Appreciate you guys being on. We're gonna see if we can't keep the heater going, man. We've been on a hell of a streak, man. Friday sat in a trade all damn day, all the way into the close that did end as a partial L. Closed out about a quarter of the way to the stop loss, $350, $360. After just a choppy back and forth, drift lower. But been doing pretty well. YM has been paying me exceptionally well. I really, it could have given me a lot more losses, and I still would have said it was paying me exceptionally well. That's my thoughts. Hang on one second, guys. Try to get some of that background noise down. But I am interested to see what we get today. Appreciate you guys hopping on as always. Y'all are awesome for being here. Live 9:15 a.m. Eastern almost every damn day. If you guys want to check out the 100% free trading community where we got giveaways, we've got, now I get to say, a levels email where I'm sending out charts and everything. We're adding to it. Questions and answers, whole bunch of active stuff going on, man. Ranking system. Awesome community. Almost 3,000 members. We're almost at 3,000 members. And giveaways. If you want to check that out, link is in the chat. More than happy to have you in my free community. That's home base for me. I'm going to keep growing that. I'm going to keep improving that. If you're hanging out here with me on the live session, I appreciate you, man. Welcome to the show. You could also follow me across socials, Real Deal Zach, on IG and X, as well as YouTube here. Yeah, man, this is going to be cool. This is going to be cool to see. It'll be really cool to see. Let's talk about real-time news, News Squawk. There's a couple different providers of this, but man, it's such a cool platform already. So much information, and like really highly curated. I'm really excited to test with this week, but I haven't found many things like this that are so well done and seemingly very, very useful. So I'm excited to talk about this more with you guys throughout the week. But as news breaks, I'll be able to read it to you. We'll wait for the good stuff. It's not cheap. It's definitely not cheap, I'll tell you that. Krill, what's up? How can I subscribe to the email charts? Hop in Discord. Hop in the 100% free trading Discord. You will be prompted to send to verify your email, and then you will get the email with these charts you got yesterday. You would have gotten Sunday before the market opened up. You would have got my daily levels, as well as my 15-minute chart here on YM, as well as some commentary. And the same thing here on NQ. You would have gotten my daily levels here on NQ, right? And then you would have gotten my 15-minute chart. And then just some general commentary on the market. Live trading schedule, right? Best deals, giveaways, all that stuff's going to be included. But the main focus is going to be, giving you guys my levels, which I get asked about all the time. It is... it's more work, right? But if I can provide any value to you guys, I'm happy to do that. You get it live with me here, right? We could always zoom out and talk about the chart. But more than happy to be setting that up. So yeah, hop in the Discord. You get prompted to verify. You have to verify your email now to be part of the Discord. It's 100% free. There's no I used to have a separate link to have to go through and create. None of that stuff. You just hop in there. There's a email verified bot, and you're subscribed. Watching YM here, kind of not doing too much. Kind of not doing too much here. Interesting, man. So YM just really over-exaggerated on this move to the downside. It's looking much weaker, kind of how it was looking on Friday, right? You know, NQ held a lot stronger. YM looked much weaker. We got the same thing forming today. This was a break all the way down of this trend near the lows. Pop back up, and now we're sitting back at VWAP. ES and NQ holding pretty far above. Kind of just choppy so far. You know, again, I'm not really interested in anything in here, like getting involved with just this structure, like this stuff right here. If my measurement tool will work. I really want it from the extremes, but this is going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting. I think what might form here is, I think we got a good chance. Again, I don't trade these in correlation, but I am trading NQ these days pretty actively. So I'll talk about NQ. I'll talk about ES. Obviously, I'm trading NQ and YM. I think we could see NQ pull back. Temporary volume point of control. VWAP, right? Down towards these 25,100-ish. I think if we got that on NQ, YM, which is looking much weaker, we could see a break of pre-market and current day lows. We could see a move all the way down here. I wouldn't mind that for a long. I really wouldn't mind that for a long. I think it's aggressive, right? I think if we start to pull all the way down here, right, we do, in fact, start to come down this way. Especially if we do it aggressively, like on some escalation of the news. If we start to do that, we could dump, right? We might not get that move that I'm looking for. We could certainly start to sell off, right? Where? To the next key area, all the way down here, right? You know, key area of interest coming off of higher time frames, all the way down back towards the 46,750s, right? Now that's a huge move, but this is the imbalance that we would be going to fill. Same thing in NQ, right? If we start to come lower, I think we're either going to bounce off a VWAP or we're going to come through really aggressively, and we could be coming back for that. What in the world? Amber alert. We could be coming back for that fill of this pretty gnarly price action to the upside, right? Kind of the same thing. But before that, I'd be looking to long it. Be looking to long it. So we'll see. We'll see. Another beautiful overnight move playing out. I talked a lot about this. I'm looking to position myself a whole lot more for higher time frames. This one you could have ran on a prop firm account, you know, into the open. But I'm looking to position myself significantly more than I have been for overnight session, right? Asia, London, you know, overnight swings. You know, that's what a lot of New York traders call them, overnight swing trades. Because this is what we get. A lot of beautiful big movements in Asia, London, and then like nothing at the open. You know, sometimes later into the session, the stuff's been playing out. But when have the big moves occurred, right? You know, just objectively. This is overnight. This is right after session changeover, overnight, right? Where was our big move down here? This looks like a... This looks like not it. Where was our big move over here? Session changeover, right? Overnight session, all the way, you know, into the prior day, into the next day, into the prior day, right? But big moves for these overnight sessions, right? This one did continue throughout the day, afternoon. Here you got a big NYSE session move, but not before a big overnight session sell-off, right? So, you know, a lot of these big moves have been happening. We have had quite a few choppy New York days, right? Quite a few choppy days. So, in an attempt to work with what the market's given me, I will be watching those overnight sessions. Same style, same approach, area of interest to area of interest, level to level, right? You know, trying to find a good way to structure risk, exercise a bias based on price action, market structure, volume, trend, right? Direction. Pretty simple stuff, same stuff, just, you know, high time frame. But watching this thing right back at VWAP for now, guys. Watching this thing right back at VWAP. Chat, how we doing? Talked about how to subscribe. Hop in Discord. You get a bunch of fun stuff in Discord. Are the new accounts dropping today or later? They are dropping today. Anything interesting you see on new accounts from Top 1? Dropping today, guys. Dropping today. I've been watching it over on the side. I didn't want to, mention too much about it until I started to see it getting ready to roll. But it is not out just yet. Not out just yet. I'm just checking some messages. I'll let you guys know as soon as it is, and we'll get to take a look at that. But the Elite Daily account, in case you missed it, the Elite Daily account from Top 1 is going away. Oh my God, I gotta turn this fan back on. Wow, it's crazy. My dock is like overheating. Okay. Sorry for like ducking under my desk here, but anyway, we got some new stuff dropping from Top 1 Futures today. Top 1 Futures is a prop firm account, prop firm company, if you didn't know, that offers instant funding as well as evals. They launched an Elite Daily account, which was really, really sweet. They took that down and they are launching something new this morning. As soon as it drops, I'll be talking about it with you guys. I think it's be really cool. I'm excited to talk about it with you guys. I think it's going to be a really awesome opportunity. Again, I think there's different opportunities for different traders. I've been talking a lot more about that this year as just I continue to grow as a trader, as a person that trades live, that puts out content, whatever the heck you want to call that. Man, ES looking strong here. Look, watching this on the side. Ooh, all of these looking strong here. NQ pushing up to fill the gap. I saw somebody say that, right? NQ fill the gap. ES did not. ES is trying. YM, the choppiest out of all of these, man. Not doing anything. Not doing anything. NQ continuing to push here. Man, these boys holding long. And again, I know you're going to see some big P&Ls. This was it. Long for the gap fill. Man, that would have paid today. And I got to assume they're taking profits in here. Beautiful. Beautiful trade, man. Beautiful trade. Again, it's not always as simple as this. It's not before usually a wick out or sometimes some chop, or sometimes we don't do this at all. We just continue lower. But man, market said, nope, that's an overreaction. We're gonna go and fix that gap. We don't like gaps on the chart. Man, what a play. So what should we get out of YM here? Yeah, man, I said so. Just to talk trading with you guys here, just answer some questions in the chat. I was watching for the gap fill on YM. It looks like this is the laggard, which we may not get. But I am going to be interested above this pre-market high. Watching some news come in here. I am interested above this pre-market high, but I'm not sure if I want to get really aggressive with it. We sold off, pulled back up, tested VWAP. Now we're popping to the upside. This isn't bad. Isn't going to be bad for the mean reversion trade, but man, these are making the case that that we do not care about this gap to the downside off the open, and we're just gonna push back higher. Ton of strength out of NQ, blasting off here. ES coming up to fill that gap. Let's see if we get the nasty rejection here. We're starting to. Big order stacking up sell side on the book as well after coming through some of that liquidity. Yeah, again, so what I was starting to say there is, guys, I'm still interested in the short. I don't know that we get it here. Don't know that we get it here. Yep. Let's see. Reaction looks like on. Just so you guys know, I was talking about News Squawk. I got real-time news loaded up on the side. I am watching it. I'm not going to read every single thing out to you guys, but it is crazy how fast it's updating as the market starts to move. Like right as the market starts to move. Crazy. I can't wait to talk to them and see what I can show on the live streams, because I also don't want to break any rules. Obviously, like, you know, you can't buy things and then just live stream them for free. That kind of defeats the purpose of them being behind a paywall. But I'm happy to talk more about this with you guys. It's crazy. That one started to flash right off the bat as we started to push to the upside. Iranian officials are studying abandoning uranium enrichment as a U.S. condition for ending the war. New York Post was the one who reported that. It seems like that was an initial reaction to the upside and then a quick pullback down. U.S. equities open risk off tone as U.S. naval blockade awaits. 10 a.m. was a time frame for that, so I think we're going to see some volatility coming up in the next 10 to 15 minutes, or just maybe throughout the day as that situation develops. But it's cool. It's cool to watch this. As far as the chart, man, just waiting patiently. No, not even a break of pre-market high. Really nothing for me just yet on YM, which is the instrument I focus on off of the open. NQ, I really wouldn't have had much at all on this just yet. Maybe an aggressive short similar to what I look for on YM as we came up to fill this gap. This thing is just continuing to try to push to the upside. Got some volatility across all of these there. Not a whole lot of follow through. Let's see if we want to, or if we just want to come right back down on this, man. Let's see. Let's see, Chatty McChat. Let me know what you guys are looking at. You guys long this market, short this market, flat? You had enough of this headline Trump market that we're trading in, man? It's absolutely insane. Absolutely insane. And again, I know there's a lot of conflict here. There's war here, so I don't mean to be like laughing and smiling as I say that. You know, just so you guys know where my head's at. I'm always praying for peace. Right? I'm never a warmonger looking for things to get. None of that stuff, right? As a trader, volatility and momentum. Yeah, they're just reposting the same thing. Volatility and momentum, you know, are reason to pay attention to the markets quickly, right? And it's important as a trader to try to position ourselves as far as what's going on from a, you know, a price standpoint, right? So it's been interesting to trade. It's been crazy to trade. I've done well on YM. I've done well on some big movements on, you know, across YM and NQ. I've also gotten, you know, my face ripped off quite a few times. But it doesn't seem like this is going away. I would not say this is going away. Obviously, we're not changing hands on the U.S. president anytime soon. You know, the geopolitical conflict has continued across so many different countries and areas and conversations. So I just don't think this is going anywhere. I do not think the headline-driven volatility is going anywhere. So I think we have to try to adapt to it. You know, things that maybe have worked really well in the past might not be working at all. Approaches, you know, that have worked in, you know, the past, I'm talking, you know, maybe even a couple of years back, market is just not the same. So I think it's that challenge of not strategy hopping and, you know, trying to find the holy grail, but finding something that works, building consistency, and then realizing we're going to have to adapt. We're going to have to adapt to different ever-changing markets, right? Market conditions, volatility, trending versus consolidation, just overall, you know, reaction from the market to scheduled news events, to rates, to, you know, disease, to, you know, everything that's going on in the world, war, natural disasters. And right now, the market is just, it really feels to me, just to describe it, that we consolidate, we chop on low volume, and we wait for the next comment out of whatever the developing situation is, usually geopolitical conflict, but whatever the developing situation is as far as the U.S. political administration is focusing on. And then we move on momentum on high volume really aggressively, right? You know, not easy to work with in general, but, you know, it's something to try to observe and then figure out how you're going to work with. Let's see. What's up, Neo? Markets is too choppy to trade horizontally for now. Just watch the fireworks. Yeah, man, I'm sitting patient right now. I'm ready to trade. I just haven't gotten a setup on YM, not just yet. Again, this, you know, just reading it, right? This was pretty obvious. I think everybody and their mother guessed that we would have gapped down, right? You know, you're not going to be able to trade a gap, right, in between session changeover unless you held short something over the weekend. After we got down here, right, if I really had high conviction that we were going to just erase this movement, you know, I would have gotten long. But based on the reaction here, and then the lack of commentary that I saw right into the close or right into the open, I wasn't comfortable shooting for a gap fill really aggressively. I do think this would have been a pretty decent way to structure risk, right? We're either going to chop back and forth. Could have ran a really wide stop on something like this, you know, way out here, right? To say, hey, listen, you know, I'm going to get long after we kind of figure out that we're going to sit here. The thesis is we're going to go up and fill this gap. And, you know, I can structure a really nice positive risk reward. We could chop. We could do something crazy. We could take me out. We could just sell off altogether. But, you know, that would have been a nice overnight swing. You could have done the opposite, right? You could have just completely done the opposite and said, hey, you know what? I think this is a gap that's going to hold. I'm going to run a nice wide stop. I'm going to shoot for a continuation lower. And I'm sure a lot of the P&Ls that we're not going to see were for that continuation lower. And they got stopped. You know, nothing wrong with that. But, you know, this was the larger movement. Maybe we see continuation, right, and a big movement for the overnight, for the New York session, but it looks like majority of the, you know, the daily candle is going to form for this day in the overnight session. Right, we're not done yet. We could absolutely break and run today, and we're making the case for it. It's continuing to look bullish here on the players that are leading. I'm still looking for a potential mean reversion short out of YM. Initially was looking up into this price action market structure, right? All the way up here. All the way up here. But I'm going to look to get a little bit more aggressive on this, guys. I may look for it in here with a stop loss outside of all of this. And I don't know that we even I don't know that we even get that. ES coming into the last bit of liquidity right here. Nothing else really up above. Looking at bookmap on these. NQ's got some more, still driving higher. YM 48,000 evens right here. Ooh, not even paying attention. They're big round psychological numbers. Let's just throw a line off the 48,000 evens here, just to see where that number is. Yeah. Existing home sales are in. Market doesn't really care about scheduled news events anymore. Data releases. Still pushing higher on these guys. Yeah, I may look to fade a pop here, guys. I may look to fade this pop here. I think this might be the spot. I think this is the spot right here. Man, we're not even going to break this pre-market high in YM. This is too low for me. This is just too low for me, but I gotta, my discretion, my intuition is telling me that this is the spot here. Just to map this out with you guys, I'm not gonna take it from right in here. I'd need a little bit more of a drive higher. This just isn't great. I got a feeling that this is gonna be it though. of here. Yup. Yup. Damn. This is not really valid for me, guys. Obviously, we're marking up the chart in real time, calling price live, as all the kids say. That doesn't mean jack SHIT unless you hit the buy and sell button. This felt like it, though. There was just nothing else up here. It's been lagging so hard. This is going to be, I think, the move, and then we're going to be on to trading NQ. Scalping in some evals or something. Yeah, just not going to get that over-exaggerated move that I like to see out of YM. Not even a break of pre-market highs, no gap fill. That felt like we were starting to stall out there after NQ and ES came all the way up, filled the gap. There's not much left on Bookmap outside of these sell orders that started to come in. Came through really everything here. Yep. Yeah, again, so I got to talk about this one. You know, why not hopping in here at 10 a.m., right? If I start... Felt this one too. If I start to allow myself to front run, you know, areas of interest, this much, you know, this much by 100, 150 points, I'm really getting out of line. So I had that feeling. We'll see if this plays out. You know, this is not, you know, nothing really just yet, but I had that feeling that we weren't going to come up here. It's just so damn slow, so much weaker than the others. 48,000 evens up there, filling the gap at very least up here. Another 75 points higher. Just not it today. Yeah, mean reversion is starting to deteriorate here on YM as we start to build this nice break and retest structure higher. Gonna sit patient on this for now, guys. Waiting to see, but we got some funded accounts, we got some evals, we got some sim accounts. We can hop on NQ and look for some stuff after this if I don't get anything on YM. But for now, I'm just sitting patient, waiting for a setup to come. I marked this up because, you know, I like to do that in real time if I'm not going to take a trade, but I'm looking at something that I think is, you know, a pretty decent likelihood of playing out, but maybe I just don't have the risk structure set like the way I don't with this one. I'm going to have to watch this one play, but be right back. I'm going to grab some water. Chat. Chatty McChat chat. How we doing, guys? How are we doing, Chatty McChat chat? Watching this market. I'm gonna leave this. I'm gonna hide it. Watching this market, try to decide what it's gonna do here. Again, I'm still interested. But man, this is just making the case, not making the case. It's just a complete. What a crazy looking daily chart. What an insane looking daily chart here. Man. Making the case for the bullish move, man. Making the case. Yeah, just not a setup on this. Just not a setup on this yet. Just not a setup on this yet. Sitting patient. We're at 10:08, 30 minutes into the open, 38 minutes into the open, so nothing nothing crazy. We got plenty of time. It's Monday morning. Let's try not to do anything too crazy. But, you know, watching NQ, man, this is kind of the setup. This is kind of the steady set setup, man. Man, I'm kind of tempted on this. I'm going to wait for YM, but kind of getting tempted on NQ. Good morning, guys. We're still below a few aggregate V-buffs. What do we got going on? Crazy market. Yeah, confused. Look at the short. Yeah. I hear it. I hear it. You know, again, maybe this is it. Maybe this was the gap down before the move higher. Maybe we're, you know, this is all we got to do is just kind of tap into the top end of this. Like higher time frame view, right? Maybe this is all we had to do, right? Now, making the case for it, at least for now, that's all we have to do, right? Sweep down here and go and pop. Yeah, this was the move, man. This was the move. Overnight and then right into the open. Well, I am really not really living in its own world here. Just look at the daily at all of these. Yeah, market did not want to sell off, at least just yet. This is frustrating though. This felt like it right here. This felt like it right here. And I got a feeling it is. Just not a good risk structure, right? Just really not a great risk structure to throw my stop right here. I wanted it outside of all this, which I would have needed the pop higher to give me a decent way to structure risk back down into VWAP. This also doesn't provide a great return opportunity all the way in here. But let's see. Let's see what we get here. Maybe we get another crack higher. Let's try not to do anything too stupid on a Monday. Let's see. In 1 minute, Trump talks about blocking straight. Yeah. Yep. Allegedly. I got News Squawk loaded up on the left-hand side. Naval blockade of Iran ship begins. Ships will not be allowed to leave or arrive at the ports. Is the report right now. Before that, they were talking about, you know, just some different considerations. Let's see. Let's see. Not much for me here on YM though. No break in the pre-market range, right? Here's our pre-market high. Here's our pre-market low. Current day's high and low. Not much out of this, man. Let's see, man. Opening drive higher for sure was the play on ES and NQ. Do they want to give it up and come right back down? Or are we just going to drift higher? No real good mean reversion trade on this though, guys. This was not it. This was not it, and I gotta be honest, getting involved right here, which was close, but getting involved right here on another day, right, where I do think we come back down on this. I think this, let me just pull up what I did. Whoa, where's the top of my screen? What the heck? What the heck? I don't want to mess up the stream, but for some reason I can't get the top end of my screen. Okay. Not valid. Not valid for me. That's where I'm going with this, guys, right? You know, I have a lot of discretion in my trading. A lot of discretion where I'm hitting the buy and sell button. This is really, like, not valid. Even, you know, like I was talking about this area here, creating the if-then statements. Look at this area of interest up here, right? Right in here, right below pre-market low, based on this structure, right? Maybe if this was different, this would be fine. But based on this structure here, 48,000s even right here, right? These lows, this area from Friday, what we're looking at, not valid. Just not valid for me to start shorting in here. And had I taken a short like this, I have to ask myself, am I comfortable getting stopped out, you know, up here? Or would I need a stop loss way outside of here for a real validation point? And then if I need a stop loss way outside of there, what am I shooting for, right? Where's my mean reversion? Back in here, right? Maybe back down here, that would be it. That doesn't allow me to structure risk in a positive way, you know, in a way that I like. Let's just say that. So, no trade so far on YM. If I had to take one, yeah, we might get another clean out move to the upside. But if I had to take one, it's short. It's short all these. Oh, there we go. Yeah, here was what I marked out earlier. Yeah, I'm gonna have to watch how that one plays. I still wouldn't mind it. I still wouldn't mind if we tried to pop one more time to the upside, because I do think we come back down here. But just not valid. Part of the game, man. Sometimes you gotta sit patient, wait for it. 10-16, got plenty of time, man. Listen, it's Monday. I got my new news platform loaded up. I'm all excited to trade. We got charts marked up. I did a lot of work over the weekend. I'm going to try to temper it. I'm going to try to stay chill with you guys. Let me know what you were looking at. We had somebody getting short. 25 285s on NQ. Let me know what you guys are looking at. I'm always happy to talk about what you're looking at. I'm not looking for a trade idea from you. I don't know if you've watched me trade before. I really never take into account anything unfortunately, that you guys say. I think it's really important as a trader to have your own trade ideas, but it looks like someone was looking for 285s for a short. Nice. Nice. You said 48,000. Why does my chart have 47,960? I don't know. I don't know. Can't speak to your chart. Ballistic Magnet rebuffs. Let's see. Market just looks like a Trump tweet bait. Yeah. Yeah. That's mostly what it is. It's mostly what it is. Morning, gang. Late to the show. Plan to short 47,960s. Okay. Cool. Cool, cool, cool. Looking for a retest up here. 2x500 orb high on ES retest into a 1 minute fair value gap. Targeted the previous high. Done for day. Done 4th day start of the week. Nice. Nice, nice, nice. Long on crude oil. Oh. Long on CL. Okay. Okay. Yeah, man. This is going to be an interesting one. This is going to be an interesting one, chat. All right. I don't know. Maybe we're going to trap longs? Is that what we're going to do here? Fill the gap, trap, and then come back down? I got a feeling, and as we're sitting here into the 10 a.m. time frame, right? Gone seen across markets with Brent briefly slipping below USD. Interesting, interesting, interesting. Yeah, I got a feeling we're gonna get some comments out of the U.S. administration, as this is supposed to be starting here at 10 a.m. I got a feeling we're gonna see some volatility. I won't mind fading a pop, but I'm still sitting patient here on YM. This position tool was the closest I got to pulling the trigger. It's not valid. It's really not valid, and I wouldn't be happy getting stopped out at the 135s on YM, which is why I'm not in. Right, I got to stick to my guns a little bit. Got to temper myself a little bit. But this is the closest that I had to putting something on so far as a full risk trade. If we don't get anything, maybe we hop over to NQ. We start looking to scalp on lower time frames. We get some super aggressive eval trading in. But I've really been preferring, just so you guys know where I'm at, I've been preferring these higher time frame moves. Obviously, you know, if you're new here, watching the 15-minute time frame, obviously a lot different than what you see a lot of streamers do, a lot of guys that trade intraday futures. I like the higher time frame moves. I like the lower frequency, higher risk, wider take profit, wider stop loss, diamond hands, those bad boys. That's what I like. That's what pays me well, which is why I like it. Super high frequency scalping, a lot of traders do it. 10, 15, 20, 30 trades a day. You know, they go back and forth a lot. They dig themselves out of holes. They run up accounts and keep pressing it. It's not that I don't go for it sometimes, especially on sim accounts. Got to put those flip days in, but it just doesn't pay me as well. I like to get in at an area that I have been waiting for, put the damn trade on, and then hold the thing. Not try the same trade over and over and over again with a little tiny stop loss. Run a wide stop. You know, and hold the damn thing. So that's what I'm going to continue to do. Waiting to see what we get up here on YM. Still interested in the short skis? The short ski? Whoa, not what I wanted there. Looking at NQ here. Patient, man. Patience. Out on CL. Nice. My only play today. Pam, what's up? why I'm short intraday. I still think we are going to eat up that Taco Tuesday candle. Likely this week, and we're sitting below 2-day and give you up. Yeah, again, like what we're talking about here is if we're gonna move higher, if we're really gonna blast off higher, we're making the case. I gotta say, we are making the case that this is all we wanted to do after today, especially if this holds. But yeah, what do we love to do after we put a big, impulsive, drastic move after a really heavy area of high volume? We love to come back down through that, right? Maybe we don't continue, maybe we don't sell off, but we love to take out, pop stops and grab liquidity, come back to the last area of high volume, finish doing business, and then pull up. But this might be one of those where we make the case just to dip in, and that's it. On the 4-hour here, just taking a look around at all these. I know I've been switching charts all day here, guys, but I'm just trying to get this higher time frame feel across all of these. Yeah, man, these are looking strong, guys. I'm gonna take the YM short if it presents itself, but because I still love this for an intraday move. We got some news breaking on this one, guys. What is this? All right, comments out of Trump. Here we go from Truth Social. Iran's navy is laying at the bottom of the sea, completely obliterated. 158 ships. Warning: if these ships come anywhere close to our blockade, they'll be immediate. Yeah, so we got heavy Trump comments coming through right now. Looks like immediate reaction on that. Yeah, man. So the next, obviously, like, this is the market now. It's insane, man. It's insane. And it's not to say that there's not always something going on, right? There's always something going on in the world that the market's reacting to from a macro and fundamental standpoint, but it is just so aggressive now on this current situation. But it looks like the blockade is going forward. You guys can read up on this stuff if you want. This is not a breaking update so much as it's just a Trump comment on Truth Social. Yep, so essentially just throwing out the warning. Yeah, man, we're gonna have to see how that develops. I think that's probably gonna be the next thing. It will either be quiet on the Western Front, or the Eastern Front, technically, or we're gonna hear more conflict out of there. So, quick dip and a move right back up to where we were on that comment. Let's see where we go from here. For the first time, we're below anchored VWAP. Okay. Just exited along right before that news. Nice. Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy. So on the curated platform, Truth Social is there because that's the type of movement that we can see, right? On any individual comment, right? We can get a quick, what was this trading? 25,290 to 25,245. Rapid dozens of points in NQ immediately, right? Anyway, watching this market drift back up towards these highs, I'm still, like I said, guys, this is looking really strong. I'm gonna take my setup if and when it comes. I'm still looking for a potential mean reversion style short on YM. I'm starting to like it less and less. It's really all I have for NYSE Open. We talked about a lot of this movement occurring in the overnight session, which has been happening again and again and again. So yeah, I'm looking up for a pop up towards these 48,000 evens to hold this one for an intraday move back down towards VWAP, back down towards this area where we chopped back and forth. I do like this. We got a little bit of volume down here. I wouldn't be trading this for a complete reversal, right? I would just be trading for this move back down. I think something like, yeah, where's my 200? Whoa, not 197,000 ticks. Roughly something like this wouldn't be bad. Dipping our toes up here. I'm dead wrong if we go and trade, 350 points higher than right now. We just close out a big bullish candle. I think that would be NQ and ES just ripping through highs, which would really, I would just be dead wrong on this potential short here. But I don't mind that, right? I think that's gonna be my spot to structure risk. It's here and now on NQ, right? I really wouldn't have to wait if I wanted this on NQ. I think the move back towards the mean, right, in here for the overnight session, back down towards this 930 low. But we're getting ready to set initial balance here, 10:30 a.m. near the high. Bank of America. Market's price for de-escalation. Trade. Bank of America says markets are positioned for de-escalation trades. Weaker US dollar, strength in Euro, AUD. Emerging market. Yeah. YM looks the weakest of all. Yeah. Yep. I'm waiting and seeing, guys. Waiting and seeing. It's still early. It's still Monday morning. We're getting ready to set initial balance here on the US indices. I don't love fading that. But I don't have a continuation long here. I think the long play was for the overnight session. Maybe you caught a little bit of a pullback for a continuation to the upside. I'm looking for this mean reversion short on YM. Again, I like it closer to the open. I don't love it after so much of this, right? So much back and forth, but I still don't mind it. So I'm looking for one more pop to the upside here for a potential short out of YM. We might not get it. Again, I had marked up a trade idea near these 950s. But I'd love for us to just go and clean out liquidity. Shake out all the weak shorts in here and then pull back. Trap some longs. That would just make for a better trade. And I don't know that I want a loss in here. Just don't know that I want a loss in here. Again, guys, I know I'm switching back and forth so dang much because I am watching NQ. I am watching NQ as well. Not taking anything just yet, but I'm going to get ready for it. Yeah, that could pay. Again, arbitrary take profit, guys. I close just based on price action market structure. I like to have an order attached, but a lot of people say, well, you didn't hold to your 600 point take profit. This could be 1,000 points. It doesn't matter. It could be 800 points, just way out of the way, right? Like way out of the way. But I am looking for this short in here. I might have to front run this. Yeah, I think I'm going to have to if I'm going to get a chance at this. Yeah, if we come into these highs, guys, I'm gonna look for this right here, which it looks like we're gonna try to make the case for. I don't know if it gives it to me. I just don't know. Yeah, man, I think I'm gonna have to run this one from in here, and I might have to do it with a wider stop. Yeah, this is gonna be it again. This is gonna be it. Sitting patient, man. Still sitting patient on this. Getting close here. I don't think it's gonna give me the 48,000s. And if it does, I'd love it for just a better entry here and a wider stop. If it does, I'd still survive. If we run through the highs, I think this is the next level that we're coming, which is why my stop loss is out here. Decent invalidation point all the way up here, right? Where we would not be rejecting up around these highs back down to the mean at that point. We'd be running all the way out to the upside. Can we get past the 950s just a little bit? No, we can't. I'm getting ready to take this one, guys. Yeah, I'm taking it from in here. I'm taking this bad boy short. I got 935. I'm taking this one short. I think we either come really aggressively through. I'm probably going to have to run a wider stop. I think we either come really aggressively through this area here, fill the gap, blast off higher, or we catch this reversion in here, but we just have not made the case. Not made the case. I'm taking it from in here, looking for the reaction as we just continue to run into sellers up here. This one's gonna be my trade for the day. I'm debating if I want my stop. I'm debating if I want to accept a little bit more risk on this one. If I want my stop outside. No, I don't. I don't. I'd like it like a little bit higher just so I'd survive a little bit of a push up here. A fill of this imbalance to like test these lows and then come right back in. But I think this is going to do just fine. Looking at some higher time frame levels here, guys. Just give me a minute. The stop loss is like the chess piece, right? Like, you're not going to move it farther away as, you know, price is moving against you. You definitely don't want to get into the habit of doing that. I'm just looking if I want to leave my somewhat standard stop on a day like today. Yeah, I'm gonna leave this as is. I'm wrong if we come up here. I'm dead wrong if we come up here. It's fine. You know, I don't love being at a level of volume. I love being to the outside to allow a test to the next level, but I can't get that here. So I'm dead wrong if we come to the upside. I'm short one mini from 47,935. Watching a couple messages come in here. Gonna run this one. Looking for a move back down towards VWAP, towards this next area of, whoa, towards this next area of high volume, mean reversion style trade, right? Reversal style trade. Looking for this move not to continue to the upside. If it does, I'm wrong. It's a long and a blast to the upside. I'd love for us to come back down to VWAP. That's pretty much what I'd be looking for. I think a decent target out of this would be all the way back down to this next area of volume, right? The 750s. I don't think that would be terrible. But I'd look for a little W coming back down towards VWAP. Starting to get some sellers up here again. But, you know, this is just going to be the decision-making point, right? Are we going to catch a reaction up here? Or are we just going to completely blast off? Is, you know, YM going to do this move that NQ made right down in here? And is NQ going to move higher? ES going to move higher? Right? You know, are we just going to be off to the races here today? Market doesn't care about the the deal not working. We're out with Iran, at least for now. The blockade, and we're just going to rip higher. We're positioning for longs. Or we're going to catch a little bit of this this intraday pullback. So that's my trade, man. That's going to be my trade for now on YM. Just to talk a little bit about my trading, as I've talked about with you guys. Gotten a lot more aggressive in this live account. I'm trading the top 1 futures 15K live account. The account you get moved into, like a prop firm live account. I've been in this thing for over 6 months, 26 payouts into last week, taking the 26 payout from the same damn account. But I'm getting more aggressive with it. I'm trying to better leverage my time, continue to challenge myself to scale, and I am risking more on it if a position, you know, if an opportunity looks good, right? If it looks like the time to press the gas pedal. So, just to give you a little bit more about what I'm doing here. On sim accounts, very aggressive as well. Very fast through evals into getting funded, and then very aggressive in the funded accounts. And then, of course, live accounts, relatively more conservatively, but maybe with, you know, with larger dollar amounts. Or if it's small amounts, maybe it's aggressive as well. But just to give you a little bit, you know, of the insights, right? I always think it's important to talk about that. You can get that in, Discord. Talk a lot about my trading in Discord as well. Keep you guys updated on what the hell I'm doing with what accounts and why. I think it's important to do that. All right? You know, I'm not going to put up a $12,000 day without risking the entire DLL, right? Or in that case, without building a buffer and then risking all of it, right? You know, you're just not going to do that. Usually, you're not going to do that. Why looks the weakest of all? Do you have a video on how you mark out your bands? Yeah, I got tons of videos on YouTube about how I mark discretionary support and resistance levels. I talk about it here on the live streams. And if you hop in Discord, Flaquito, and verify with email, you will get an email now of NQ and YM with all of my levels. You're going to get a Sunday levels email and maybe one throughout the week with a little bit of market context. All right? So, yeah. I try not to go over the same thing over and over and over again, but just like I was saying earlier, I get asked almost, like when it comes to my chart, I get asked usually about colors, my volume profile settings I get asked about all the time, and then my levels, right? My areas of interest. So if you want all of those, you can watch over and over again, you know, where they're coming from. Hop in Discord. Perfect, thank you for that. No problem. All free. Free 99, by the way, guys. Everything is free 99 here. Free live trading, free Discord, free emails, tons of free content, tutorials, question and answers, all that stuff, free 99. I'm affiliated with brands, companies, prop firms, software that I know and use myself, that I like to bring to you guys, that I make videos about, to, you know, provide info on, and make money from, right? But I love that mutually beneficial relationship. You don't have to use anything. You don't have to click anything. If you want to learn about stuff and then get the best deal for yourself, that's what I always attempt to negotiate. But if you say, hey, I don't want to do any of that stuff, I just want to learn about your levels, no problem, man. Free 99. Sitting up here around, man, what is 957? Got 957. Nice. Nice. Yeah. Could have got a little bit better of a fill on this one. I'm not super stoked with the 935s, but, you know, it is what it is. Again, I think we got opportunity to chop up here, but like most of my trades, by the time that I'm waited for them, I think it's either a decent move in the direction against me pretty quickly, or an aggressive move back down. Now, you know, Friday was an instance where we kind of just chopped around. It did move against me, but kind of just chopped around slowly. I held on to this bad boy on Friday, $750 of profit on a nice reaction to the upside, and then we did just drift lower. This one, I'm looking at one of two things happening, right? Really aggressive move back down, or really aggressive continuation to the upside, you know, which is what I like to see. Could chop up here, could just test these levels. Trade 953s here, but I think we're likely to just blast off or catch this reversion. All right, that's why I'm short. But we got a trade on in the Prop Firm live account. Let's see what we can do, guys. Let's see if YM's got a W for me or an L. Here's all we could do now that the trade's on. Let's talk about this, guys. Let's talk about the really important part of trading. The levels, sure, they're important, right? Where to enter, where to exit, you know, your approach to the market, very important. If you're going to use news, not use news, whatever it is. Here's what I would say is probably more important than anything else, at least for newer traders. Do you structure and accept your risk? When you put a trade on, before you put a trade on, do you know where your stop loss is going to go? If you have a stop loss, if you don't have a stop loss, whatever you're doing, do you know how much money you have on the line, right? Answer to that first question, yes. If you don't know, don't put the trade on. You should probably just go back to figuring out how to figure out how much money you have on the line before you put a trade on. Once you know how much money you have on the line, are you comfortable with that being hit immediately? Are you comfortable with, in the blink of an eye, that being stopped out? If you're not, don't put the trade on. Simple as that. If you're not comfortable taking that loss, you're not ready to pay to figure out if that trade's going to work. You have not accepted your risk. You have some kind of incorrect thinking. You believe that you know which way the market's going to move next with a 100 degree of certainty, in which case that you don't need to accept the risk. That's just fundamentally wrong. Nobody knows that. I wish we did. Maybe you accept that you have a random, you know, probability of you know, one thing happening over another, distribution of wins and losses, but you're just in too heavy. You're comfortable accepting the stop loss, but not $1,000, not $2,000, whatever you have on. You got to size that down, right, to where you're comfortable. That's the prerequisite for not going on tilt, for not, you know, revenge trading, not doing anything stupid, right? You know, structure and accept your risk, especially in these markets, especially where the next headline can just send the market higher or lower. So for me, in this trade, talking about it, as we push higher, looks like we want to go and test that 48,000 even. I have structured and accepted my risk. I'm, unfortunately, if it has to happen, comfortable taking that stop out, right? If I'm not comfortable taking that stop out, you got to get out of the trade. For me on this one, again, about $1,000 worth of risk on these YM trades. I find 200 points is enough to tell me if I'm wrong. If I want to put on more risk, if I want to take on $2,000-$3,000 worth of risk, NQ is the one to do that with. Let's see. We got new news breaking. IRGB commander says the ground units of the Iranian armed forces have established a multi-layer security belt. Okay. We'll see if the market continues to react to these. I'm sure that it will. Yeah, man, it's just all the just reading this, it's all the obviously all the conflict in the Middle East. So we got rolling. Oh. Perfect, thank you for that. YM and NQ, YM opposite of NQ and ES. YM is underneath Predator VWAP. Feels like sellers are really in control here. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see if they can hold it, Pam. We'll see if they can hold it. Again, level to level. All right, that's what I'm looking at, level to level. As Dr. David Paul, famous trader. Yes, we love Dr. David Paul. Rest in peace, man. OG. Once said, put your entries where you'd put your stop and see how many times the market goes there. Yeah, it was a fun quote. I know that one, Ivan. If you guys don't know Dr. David Paul, the late Dr. David Paul, I think you say that after someone had passed. Used to work with Tom Hogard a lot. Really just great way of talking about the markets. Very successful trader, but just a great way of talking about the markets and identifying all of the issues that so many normal traders face. I think the quote, he said it a handful of times, but I think the quote was, right when you're about to put a trade on and you're about to put a stop loss in the market, don't do that, or like smack yourself in the head and then put your entry where you were going to put your stop loss. You know, that type of a deal. Watch how much the market goes there, right? You know, most retail traders put their stops in very obvious places. You know, that's kind of the thesis there. Areas of liquidity. Market loves to go with hunt stops. You know, so there's something to be said there. But yeah, he had a lot of great phrases that he would repeat. But also just a great way of talking about all of the mistakes that we make as retail traders. Ton of his stuff is on YouTube if you guys want to watch. It's under Dr. David Paul. Watching this market chop around here, yeah, guys, just to kind of give the you know, the frame of this trade again for those of you guys that hopped on late. I see we got a ton of people hopping on. Welcome to the show. Thanks for being here. Welcome. Just to talk about this trade, I am short 1YM mini. This is the Dow Jones Industrial Average. I am short on my top 1 futures 15K live account. I have a stop at 48,134. I have a take profit way down here, which is not where I'm looking to hold to. I'm looking for a move back towards VWAP, back towards some of this consolidation chop, these retests from NYSE Open. I'd love for a move down here, but I'm short for this mean reversion style trade. I am looking at this as a key area of interest, right? A key level here. I think we are either going to break through this potential resistance zone, this area of interest, supply, demand, support, resistance, order blocked, whatever the hell you want to call this, and run all the way up here and take me out and fill this gap. Or what I'm looking at to happen, more than that, right? Otherwise I would be long. A reversion, a continuation of this kind of choppy back and forth, you know, pull back up into this imbalance, but not quite fill the gap on YM that we've seen. Much weaker through the session, all the way from pre-market into the open now. Looking for that pullback. Looking for that mean reversion style trade on YM here. All right. You know, again, as this develops throughout the day, we'll see. I think the clear risk here is headline risk. We are trading headline markets, Trump markets, volatile markets, whatever you want to call, you know, conflict, war, whatever you want to call when the market will jump in any direction on a quick headline coming out, just on a simple update, right? You know, a lot of this. A lot of this, right? And maybe it doesn't follow through. You know, maybe it doesn't follow through like this, right? We just kind of, you know, don't care. But a lot of this. A lot of this, right? But that's probably my trade here on YM. Looking at NQ. Looking at NQ here. I think this is another interesting spot, right? I think this is going to be really interesting into the overnight session as well. And I may be looking for some overnight trades. If we just settle up here on these, maybe I take the stop on YM. We push higher. We test these highs. I'd still be looking at a pullback before we just blast off higher. If we really start to go, man, we're going to be making the case for this next area. We're holding above this area. We pulled back down. We gapped down, tested this. We're going to be making the case to not come back down here and hang out and just go. But first and foremost, for now, short YM. Where's 200? Let's get exact here. I'm short 935. Yeah, my 1 to 1,000 bucks would be right into the 35s, 735s. The low end of this. I think that's a reasonable spot. I think that's a reasonable spot, chat. But let's see what the market's got for me. Let's see what the market's got for me. My personal challenge today, just stay in no matter what. That's great challenge for yourself, right? Here's what I think everybody should try to do, guys. Pam says, my personal challenge for today is to just stay in and hang on. Here's my thoughts, guys. As you progress as a trader from a beginner, once you start to figure out the basics, here's where I think you could spend a lot of your time. Not on finding the next tool, the next technical indicator. What is your biggest Achilles heel? What is the biggest thing that you continue to mess up? Where you have that day where you go, why did I do this again? Why do I do this? What's wrong with me, right? If you have that and you start to identify what it is, we all do. A lot of traders, maybe it's closing out trades early. Closing out winning trades, closing out losing trades, just clipping winners and losers all over the place when you're not supposed to. Hone in on that one thing and make that your sole focus. Your one thing to do is to not do that execution error that you continue to do, right? It's hold your trade. Hold all the way to a take profit or a stop loss. Set that take profit, set that stop loss, and just wait patiently for either one of those to be hit. Can you do that, right? Can you challenge yourself to do that? Until you do that, you're not going to be ready for anything else, right? You're not going to be ready to get better at, executing a different way, using a different tool, scaling up, adjusting anything because you have an execution error that you're not facing, right? Maybe it's moving your stop loss. Maybe it's adding into a loser. Maybe it's adding into a winner. Maybe it's revenge trading. Your only goal is to not put another trade on, to take one trade and then close out. That's your whole focus. And if you could just do that over and over and over again and build that muscle, right? Strengthen that correct, muscle, you're able to progress in the right direction. So I'd encourage you all to think about that. We're always so focused on advancing. And, here's a good, here, I'll throw another one at you. This is from, this is from the book, The Mental Game of Trading by Jared Tendler. And he talks about something called the inchworm effect, right? And there's your A game and your B game and your C game, right? What are we working on? Are you trying to work on improving your A game, improving your best execution, your best reads of the market, pressing your winners? Most people are only trying to focus on that, and they're not focusing on their C game, their Achilles heel, the problem, the really clear, the execution error that they continue to make. And in order to move that inchworm forward, where the tail comes in and then the A game, right, extends, and the C game comes in and the A game extends, right, and the B game is where you're doing most of your business, most of your work. Until you bring that C game up, you can't extend that A game, right? If you continue to never hold your trades to a take profit or a stop loss, you're never going to be able to extend that A game, right? If you continue to revenge trade and blow up your entire account on tilt, even after you trade really, really, really well and run the thing up into profit, you're never going to be able to move to that next level. So focus on your C game. Focus on that area that's a huge problem for you, right? What's your weakest point? You know what it is, right? I'm sure you know what it is. For me, honestly, it's even now, and I consider myself a holder, it's holding my trades. I'm going to say it's two areas. Holding my trades I can almost never hold them long enough. Neither can anybody. I can almost never hold them long enough. And I hold them long, all the way into the close on Friday, right? All the way 15 hours of the week before, right? The other one is adapting, right? Being slightly too slow. I was used to be slightly too fast to adapt to changing market conditions. Now I'm slightly too slow. I'd prefer to be too slow than to be too fast and strategy hop and bounce around all over the place. But I'm a little bit stubborn when it comes to adapting to changing market conditions. But I'm working on that. Hence, news squawk loaded up and paying more attention to breaking headlines, right? But identify that. Work on that within yourself. You know what it is, too. You know what it is right away. What's your Achilles heel? What's the thing that, that you keep, that you need to do better at? Write that down, put a Post-it note, think about it, and make that your sole focus, right? That's what I would do. But great, great thought process on that one. My one goal today, that's the way to go. Yeah, how and when to put stop loss and take profit. I'm not sure exactly what you're asking. If you're asking in general, how and when to place a stop loss, I could answer that question just basically, but we should probably just watch some more basic videos. You're one of the few YouTubers that trades YM. Yeah. What makes you decide to go with that instrument? Is it more prone to mean reversion? I do think YM for me, I try to exploit a pretty similar movement on it, on YM, which is a mean reversion style trade off of the open. So specifically there is that, but it's just preference. It's just preference. I seem to do the best on YM, right? I've traded it for a long time. I don't think it's better or worse than any, just looking at a couple of breaking headlines that come in. I don't think it's better or worse than ES. It just seems to work better for me. You know, most traders just trade what everybody else trades. And it's not a good reason to trade something, right? So, you know, find what works best for you. XAU USD. First off, I'm not trading Forex. Second off, please don't spam the chat. Third off, I don't really trade gold. I haven't traded gold in a long period of time. So I answered the question, but please don't spam the chat. You can trade XAU USD. Or somebody else, I'm sure, trades gold. Top dog, Scar, preach, you know it. Not trying to flatter you, but your words give me lots of positivity and energy. Cheers. Yeah, listen, I'll try. What do we want to talk about, guys? I'll rant about whatever you want. I'll try to give you guys the sauce. What do we want to talk about as we're hanging out in a trade? You guys give me a topic and I'll talk. Trading, please. But yeah, that's a huge area for improvement. Huge area for improvement. What is the biggest problem? What is your biggest problem? Are you too impatient? Can you never wait? That's what you need to focus on. Are you way too patient? Are you scared to take another trade after taking a win or a loss, right? Are you fearful? Scared is not a great term to use. You have to challenge yourself to do that. But you always need to be challenging yourself to clean up that C game, that real big problem. Real big problem. Watching some news break here as we start to push higher. ES coming through the last bit of liquidity. YM still not really selling off. We've definitely run into sellers here. We're going to make the case for the move higher or this reversion coming up soon. But let's see what you guys got. If you guys got questions, trading questions, I'm happy to talk. Yo, Zach, it's been nice to be here. I might quit trading until I finish uni and get a job. Nothing wrong with that. Until then, it was nice to meet this community. IG, I am lucky enough to find this community. I'll be watching. Awesome. ASFX, man. Listen, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I don't think there's anything wrong with taking a step back, especially if you have something else going on in your life that is, you know, taking focus. The markets aren't going anywhere. People have been saying for forever the markets are going anywhere. I think they're going to change. I think we're always going to be trading different things, but the markets aren't going anywhere. So long as people here and have money and there's, you know, currency and goods and services to be exchanged, markets aren't going anywhere, brother. You're in college, you got plenty of time. But it's been awesome having you here, man. If I never hear from you again, I appreciate you being here. Thank you. It's been awesome to be part of whatever part of your trading journey this was. Over trading, how to stop. Trader education. Here's what I think can help with over trading. And remember, guys, as we start to get a little bit of a reaction here, looking at, I know I'm looking to the side a lot today, guys. For those of you that hopped on late, I'm going to answer that question. For those of you guys that hopped on late, I have News Squawk loaded up for the first trading morning today. I was testing it over the weekend. It is a paid real-time News Squawk, live read they read it out to you, headlines, but also a whole platform where they put it in text. It's been really cool to watch, but as I'm introducing something new to my trading, I'm just watching how news headlines pop up and then how the market reacts. I'll be talking more about it. I think it's awesome so far. It's insanely high-end and curated. Everything about it is like chef's kiss. It's really nice. I'm going to use it, of course, for a while, and I think this could be something bring to my trading arsenal. I don't use a ton of different software. Obviously, Bookmap, is paid order flow software and real-time data, but this is pretty sweet. So I'll talk more about it. But there wasn't a big headline on this one. I was just, as we start to move, or I see a headline, I'm watching back and forth. There wasn't a big headline. There was nothing that was really breaking there. Just some normal volatility, if there is such a thing. Are we just going to grind higher here in YM? I'm going to come back to answer that question, but I'm just looking at the charts here. I liked that. As we started to dip, man, but these dips are getting bought right back up here today. Oof. Oof, oof, oof. Sitting patient. Again, nothing to do. Like I said, hold my trades. How do you prevent overtrading, right? Here's the question, right? Why are you overtrading? Identify why. Comes from a couple areas. Here are some general ones, and try to be honest with yourself. Number one, you don't have confidence in your system and your approach anyway. You're not confident you'll make money being patient, so you overtrade. You're not really confident. You don't believe you can make money trading one way, so you try that first, and then you just continue to overtrade. How do you start to correct that? Back test, forward test, build some confidence in what you're doing, right? Number two, overtrading problems. You have unrealistic expectations. You want to make money every day. You are not comfortable coming to the market and doing nothing. You're not comfortable coming to the market and taking a loss and just being on with your day. That's what trading looks like, right? Nobody has a 100% win rate. Nobody is going to trade every single day and win. There's just never been such a thing, right? Maybe every week and every month if you're, if you're great, but not every day, not every trade. So you have unrealistic expectations. How do you fix that? Try to meditate on those expectations. You ain't going to win every day. You're not going to make money every day. You're going to sit here all day sometimes and then lose money. It's very difficult to do, but that's part of it. Another one, lack of discipline. You have no discipline in your outside life. You're a completely undisciplined person. You don't delay gratification for anything. You are short-term focused and you can apply no discipline to your trading. So even if you have confidence, even if you have an understanding of the way this market works, even if you have reasonable expectations, if you're just a complete degenerate, lackadaisical, no discipline in any other area of your life, you're never going to be able to keep yourself from overtrading. So those are the areas I would look first, right? Also, just really understanding the game of probabilities we're playing. It doesn't make sense to keep hammering the button if you really truly believe that there's a random outcome of every one next trade. If you're overtrading and stepping outside of your system and trading with zero edge, it doesn't really make sense to continue to do that once you hold that as a core belief. So that's where I would look. Experience, also. If you put your hand on the stove enough times, you take a loss and you go, click, 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 a million times overtrading, it's not so fun to do. But I've been there, right? I still get there. I will say that. Market drove higher. I was not in it from, this is last week. And I'd call what I did in the overnight session just drastically overtrading. And it comes from a mixture of a lapse in all of those areas. So that's where I'd work on for overtrading. My issue is definitely staying in the trade, not letting myself jump out today. See what it feels like and breathe. It's a muscle that needs to be worked. Yep. ES and NQ going for those highs. Let's see. Maybe. Are they? Ooh, decent reaction after coming up. Okay. I don't know. This don't look too bad. Did we get the new top 1 accounts yet? Good questions, though. Good questions. How was your trades today? You're looking at it, brother. It's on the screen. Go get the degree, man. Trading will always be here, for sure. Yeah. Get the degree. 1000%. I'm a big fan. Why I'm melting now? Maybe. Stay in the trade, Pam. Yeah, listen. This is what you should tell yourself, right? You don't know what's going to happen on this next trade, right? You don't know. You can't possibly know. And that's not the point. The goal is not to stay in and take a win. It's just to stay in. So if you even lower the bar, right? Even say, you know what? Tell yourself, this is probably going to come back on me. This is probably going to, even from here, it's probably going to turn around, and I accept that. I'm going to have to take a fat L today, the whole thing, because it's probably going to turn around here. But at very least, if I build this muscle by exercising this correct habit that I'm trying to build, that I know will help me over a large sample size, I did what I was supposed to do today. So that's the way that, it's important to think about these things, right? We're never going to be perfect every day as far as, top ticking and bottom ticking the market. That's not the goal. It's can we interact with the market in a way that will generate a positive expectancy over a large sample size of trades, right? Part of that is reading the market well and using discretion to decide when to enter and exit, right? But in general, right, if we're struggling to hold our trades, holding our trades longer in general is going to help us, right? If you looked back on your trades, your review will tell you, and that's what you need to know how to do. Also, so let me just back up here, guys. We're talking about Pam and holding trades longer and me holding trades longer and all this type of stuff. Here's the deal. If you look back at your review, right? First off, you should be journaling. If you look back at your trades, if you're finding you hold your trades way too long, then you need to do the opposite, right? What has happened to you over the last 30 trades? Right? What has happened to you over the last 30 trades? Have you found that if you held your trades, for another 20 points, 50 points, how many more would be winners and you'd make more money? How many would be losers? How many would come all the way back to you, right? Do the review. That's going to tell you exactly what you need to do. So if you need help identifying what your Achilles heel is, look at your last 20 trades, right? Just throw executions on the chart. Look at your prop accounts that you have, review. Throw, on the weekend, grab a cup of coffee and look at what happened. All right. Shoot didn't stay in, ran away, but... Oh, Pam, what happened? Yeah. It's all good. It's all good. Stay in the trade, to take profit and getting a small win, getting out of CL. Raymond, yeah. It's actually a good idea. The win isn't staying in, it's taking profit. It's putting that lens on. Great tip. Yeah. 50-50. Okay. Yeah. So here's what I'd say. Just we're building on one idea, guys. So if you have any questions or comments, please let me know. Otherwise, I'll kind of continue on here. You only know what you need to improve on if you can go back and watch your tape, right? If you can go back and watch yourself trading, right? You only know where your weak points are. Usually you can identify them just by thinking about it, but you only know if you review, right? Especially the nitty gritty. So go back weekends or when the markets are closed is a great time to do it and review, right? Maybe the gentleman that asked, was this, my first trade? He finds that taking a lot of trades is helpful to him, right? I found in the past that the more trades I take, the worse I do. The less I put risk on and the higher frequency of trades I take with tighter stop losses and tighter take profit, trying to take 30 trades a day, it doesn't help me. It just genuinely doesn't help me. Waiting more patiently, putting more risk on, in fact, the more the better, and the wider stop loss and wider take profit, the better. That's the better I do, right? So lean into that. For me, even now, even as long as I hold my trades, even the biggest winning trades that I have, I could have still held them longer. It's not all of them, but like, let's say 80+%. That's about where it sits for me. And I haven't been able to correct it, to shift it the other way. Early this year, the market started to chop and I made a drastic change where I was just never closing anything. And I took some L's doing that. But almost always I find personally that I can hold my trades longer, right? So I have to challenge myself to do that. I have to try to look at the data and then make the difficult, decision to say, I know that 2 out of 10, let's say if it's 80% that I could hold longer, 2 out of 10 that I close, this is perfect. This is the right spot. And those 2 out of 10 are going to go all the way back to stop me out. Super painful, right? But 8 out of 10, I got more on the table. I'm leaving money on the table, right? So hold those damn trades longer. I've only seen, I'm not going to say who it is, but I've only seen 1 or 2 traders that fall into the category of greedy traders that never close their trades. And it was actually really cool to watch, but they had the opposite. So it's out there. You always are looking for more. You're always adding in. You're always holding for forever. You're holding way past your initial take profit. It's like the opposite of most traders. You got to tighten up. You got to take that profit and run. But look back on your trades. Are you trading too much? Are you over trading? Are you not trading enough? I've worked with a couple traders. I've talked to different traders that had a real problem putting on a trade. They did not want to put trades on. They just, tough situation to be in, not common, but it's out there. So try to identify with this stuff within yourself. Be real so you can improve. right? If you're not going to be honest and you're not going to review, you're not going to identify the weak points, how can you possibly expect to get better in anything? It's the same thing in any profession. I'm reading a breaking headline there. Televised speech by the party secretary general, 8:30 p.m. tonight. Okay, but yeah, like that's the deal. That's the deal. Review. Figure out what changes you need to make. Try to make those changes improve. And yeah, 80%, that's the number. I think the reason I'm 50-50 is I need to loosen up on stop loss. I'm going to inch that risk a bit higher. Yeah, it just reviewing, Pam. Just reviewing and seeing. Again, I'm like, I'm generalizing when I say that, but it's high. It's really high. It's much less frequent, less than 50%, where I go back and I went, wow, there was nothing left on the table for me there. I exited at the perfect spot. It's almost always more on the table before it goes back to hit my entry, or especially for stop loss. But that's me, right? There are traders out there where that's just not the case. Yo, what's up? Hey y'all, AJ, what's up? You ever try gold futures? Yeah, we were talking about that earlier. I've traded gold very infrequently in the past. Not when it was on this crazy tear. I mostly did it because I just needed something else to trade. I was doing a lot of overnight swing trading, and I was trading NQ and gold overnight. Not bad. I've had a lot of people recommend it to me because it seems to respect structural levels really well. It's this very nice level-to-level, aggressively moving instrument. But I don't find the need to do that. I do enjoy just focusing on the U.S. indices. And even when I was trading Forex back in the day, I like to swing trade Forex. It was great. But swing trading so many different Forex pairs made it impossible to really understand correlations between them and underlying drivers and things like that. So just focusing on the U.S. indices, YM and NQ, and not trading, I know it's correlated, highly correlated, but not trading gold and crude oil and maybe 47 different Forex pairs, right? The Japanese yen. It allows me to just kind of focus on one market, right? Which is the main market, but, a small batch of instruments. But also, that's just a preference. You might find that trading multiple things or gold in general is better for you. You do that, right? Test with different stuff. And then once you start to gain some consistency, lean into that. I have decent results with just sizing down and increasing the range of stop loss and take profit that I set. Sometimes having the extra space is all you need, I think. Yeah, I would argue, AJ, great point. I would agree with you. I think in general, again, this is a big overgeneralization, but these are all good topics, so I'm going to keep yapping about it. I think in general, most traders are sized way too big, and they have too tight of a stop loss and too tight of a take profit. If you're a hyper scalper and that works really well for you and that's really what you're trying to do, then go for it. But what I find is a lot of traders put stop losses in places that are not really invalidating their trade idea. They're putting them, in an area that's very obvious, for lack of a better term, but at very least they're putting them in an area where they don't really want to be out of that trade. They don't really say, hey, at this spot, I'm completely wrong. You look at what I'm doing here, right? I love wide stop losses. I like wide stop losses, wide take profits, even for intraday trading. Now I'm at an extreme here. I think most people would argue that, they don't need that much. But I do, personally. This is, what works for me. But yeah, I find most traders are extremely tight. They're running 40 tick, 60 tick stop losses on NQ into NYSE Open. How are you going to survive anything, right? You might be right. The market's going up, right? But you can't survive the tiniest little wick down, the tiniest little bit of volatility. It's going to take you out. And your stop is not at an invalidation point. So I think what can help there is my stop loss at a spot where this trade is invalidated and where I no longer want to be short? In fact, I might actually want to be long. That's where your stop loss should go. And then the question is, can I get a stop loss there based on my position size? Yes, okay, maybe I take the trade. No, maybe I size down. Maybe I don't take the trade. Maybe I can't structure risk in an ideal way, right? I like this trade idea. I think the market's going to go up or down, but there's no clear spot for an invalidation. This thing can pull way back, and I still would want to be long. Maybe you got to wait for that pullback, right? Not put a trade on. So some of that stuff is really important to think about. But yeah, most of the time, way too tight. Like way too tight. You know, and you watch traders get stopped out repeatedly, and then the market like continues to move in their direction. And I'm like, had you just taken that first trade with triple the stop loss size and take profit, you know, you would have made money. But again, how do you identify that? Review, right? You might be really great with a tiny stop loss. Perfect, man. You know, your review will tell you that. How many times are you stopped out over the last sample size? How many times are you stopped out and then the market continues in the direction of your trade, right? Like, how often does that happen throughout a trading session? You know, if that happens, are you trying the same trade over and over and over again? Or are you just getting stopped out and then that's it? Watching this trade start to move in my direction. I know we've been having a good conversation here. Watching this trade start to move in my direction. I'm going to hang out with you guys a little bit. I've been hopping off of live sessions pretty quick. I'm going to try to hang out a little bit longer these days, especially if I got a trade on and running. So we'll see. No stop loss to break even on this. I'd love to see a move back down towards VWAP. I'm at a position again where I'm going to have to decide whether or not I want to hold through VWAP. These bad boys have really not pulled back. Really not pulled back, but I like this. I like it. Yep, I got a max that I'm willing to lose per trade, so I adjust the number of contracts I trade based on where I want to put the stop loss. Yep, that's exactly what you're supposed to do, AJ Bollinger. That's the key. Position size accordingly. Adjust to volatility, right? Adjust to your stop. Now, I'm contradicting myself a little bit when I say that, because I've been trading NQ with one mini and a 200-point stop loss almost all year, right? Now, I started to do that for a couple of different reasons, and I've stuck with it for a couple of different reasons through fairly different changes in volatility. But there's been a couple of days. Breaking headlines here, guys. I'm watching this come in. U.S. blockade has officially gone into effect. There are more than 15 U.S. warships in place to support the operation, according to Wall Street Journal, citing a senior U.S. official. All right, let's see. But yeah, I think position size accordingly. You know, measure volatility, especially on lower time frames. You're gonna have to adjust a lot more than on higher time frames. But put your stop loss where it needs to go, right? You know, not by some fixed, you know, whatever arbitrary thing you want to do. Chat, how we doing? We got a ton of people on the stream today. What's up, guys? What's up? How are we doing, chat? Welcome to the show, guys. Welcome to the show. Appreciate you being here. Let's talk about it. You don't use financial juice. Sometimes the headlines come out right away. So here's what I got going on, guys. I'm going to talk more about this. I don't want to show this platform because I don't think that, how do I put this? Streaming a paid service, especially a real-time paid service, is usually frowned upon. Now, Bookmap allows people to do that, but I don't want to do that for a news site that I'm paying for, especially until I talk to them. But here's Financial Juice, what the person just was talking about. Here's the thought. You can pay for real-time. Usually this is pretty fast. You know, it's delayed by however long it's delayed. And if you're trading intraday on higher time frames, maybe it's not that big of a deal. But maybe you want super-duper fast news. You can pay for Financial Juice. You usually can get some of the stuff on Twitter for free, right? But let's go back and I'll show you the site that I am using right now. This is it right here. It's called News Squawk. There's a couple different ones of these. It is highly curated, paid, as close to real-time news breaking alerts as you can get. It is not cheap at all. It's $400 a month, $4,000 a year. But they are, so far, what I've seen, awesome. Again, I'm just starting to test with it, work with it. I'll keep you guys updated. I'll be talking much more about it. But this is the one that I'm paying for. So I'll talk to you about it. I'll keep you updated. And we'll go from there. But yeah, as of today, I think, unless there's another, unless there's a faster one out there, I have arguably the fastest real-time news. So, again, in the past, I'll elaborate on this. In the past, I haven't wanted to pay attention to news really at all. I really tried to be a fundamental-based trader in the past, swing trading Forex where I started, and it didn't work for me. And even as I traded intraday futures, trying to pay attention to the why behind every price movement or interpret what was going on with, data releases and what the Fed was going to do and all this, it didn't help me that much. It started to confuse me more than it helped me. I was never quick enough to react and understand what the market participants were really going to do anyway. And I wrote off a lot of it. As I've advanced as a trader, and as the markets continue to change, and we are where we are today in a completely headline-driven market, I find it increasingly more difficult to not pay attention to the news and putting myself at a severe disadvantage by not trying to understand the fundamental macro headline news context of the market conditions that we're trading. So I started to pay more attention to the free stuff. I talked about wanting to test a paid service. I'm trying to test the best that I could find, and I'll keep you guys updated. But so far, it's really cool. It's really cool. It's a platform that is a web-based platform where they have a ton of curated stuff, headlines. Obviously, you've got X and Truth Social. They have an economic calendar. They have news reports they put out every morning, news reports throughout the day. Really, really nice curated write-ups, I think significantly better than what ChatGPT or Claude is going to give you, right? Because it's coming from a bunch of professional analysts. They have real-time chat, one-on-one, where you can ask a question about anything that they're reporting. It's read out to you. So the fastest stuff is that because it's Squawk. It's read out to you in real time, which I have off right now because I don't want to confuse anybody or have anything playing that I'm not supposed to. But I'll talk more about that. So I'm excited to be tested with it. Really cool. I signed up for it, and then you get sent an email from, somebody on their team introducing an account executive in email that you have to ask any questions and work with you, set anything up. You could book calls with them to have different things explained to you. Obviously, it's expensive. It's not cheap, but you know what they say? The cheap stuff ain't good, and the good stuff ain't cheap, right? So most of the stuff that we use in trading is free. I think as you're getting started, before you have a lot of capital, go with the free stuff. As you advance, you might want to test different things, right? And that's what I'm doing here. So I'll talk more about it. It's called News Squawk if you want to check it out. But I'll be working with it and talking more to them and their team. I would be surprised unless it was super glitchy or something started to happen bad that this isn't something that I add to my arsenal, even just in one day. It's really cool to have up, and again, just such a high-end platform and program, but the question is, does that help you? Does it help you to have real-time news headlines as you're trading? Does it hurt you, right? What happens if I'm in a winning trade and something negative comes out that I think is going to move the market against my position? Do I FOMO out of the trade? And if I didn't know about that, I would have just held on to it. Things like that can come into play. I always try to look at the other side of things. Watching this thing try to continue the downside here, showing me almost 100 points of profit. Let's see what YM's got for me, chat. Let's see what YM's got for me. So yeah, Financial Juice and Forex Factory are my, is what I've been using. Now, some News Squawk. Doing well, prepping for your interview. Nice. Okay, awesome, dude. Are you set at BE? No, Muhammad. Where is my stop loss? You don't have to ask me, my brother. Can you see my chart? This would be stop loss at break even. We ain't stop loss to break even yet. Chaz in trades, 4K risk. Also, same answer to the question. You tell me, brother. You should be able to tell exactly how much risk I have on my trade. You could see my entry. Can you guys not see my chart today? Maybe I don't want to be a jerk. Can you guys not see my chart with my entry and my exit? Is something wrong on the stream? Because you should be able to tell exactly where my entry is, where my stop loss is. You can see exactly what futures contract I'm trading, and you could tell exactly how much risk I have on. So these questions aren't making sense to me, guys. Look at the chart, please. Look at the chart. No, I don't have 4K of risk. Nobody else answer, but I'm gonna ask you to do the math for yourself and find out how much risk I have on this trade. Thank you. Yeah, of course. What made you take the short? I would say rather than me, the Gavin, what's up, brother? If you want to know exactly why I took the short, rather than me reiterating it, and I started to say this again because I have people that hop on the stream much later and I end up just repeating the same thing over and over again. You should be able to rewind the stream, go back through and watch my initial markup, right? For the open, watch where I was getting ready to place a short, and then watch when I actually put the short on, right? Because I'm not only talking about it in hindsight like I would be doing right now, but you could watch in real time why I put the short on. I think that's helpful. Patience is paying off. We'll see. We'll see. Okay, nice, for sure. I see some laughing faces. Yeah, no problem. Guys, I'm not trying to be a dick. Not to like use vulgar language, but sometimes I have to ask the question, like, can you guys see what I'm seeing here, or is there something wrong? I have people sometimes that hop on and say, are you in a trade, when there's a trade running? And I'm like, I think so. I'm not sure. Did I do something wrong? Patience paying off. When are you set break even? It depends. First off, you'll see it when I do it on my chart. But second off, I don't really find, and going back to holding trades longer, going back to reviewing data, for me, for the most part, going stop loss to break even hurts me more than it helps me. This is something that I repeat a lot. I am not a fan of going stop loss to break even for that reason. I really prefer not to ever. I will go stop loss to break even usually as I'm getting really close to taking a take profit. I don't love to miss a take profit or miss an exit point and then have the thing come all the way back. At that point, it's really invalidating the trade. This isn't a good invalidation point. I don't think that this invalidates my short. Price really hasn't moved far enough or volatile enough. If I'm trading into news, if I have a trade running that's like crazy volatility coming in, if the market starts to sell off really aggressively and I don't close it out first, I might go stop loss to break even. 200 ticks in profit, maybe 200 points in profit. But for the most part, I don't love stop loss to break even. And to answer the question, I don't have an arbitrary point where I go stop loss to break even based on time or price. So not fixed. We can see it. Real question, Zach, how do you find how much, for example, if you wanted to know how much you are risking? I already know, but I've never known how to do it. Multiple ways, guys. So like, how do you find out how much you're risking, right? Here's the easiest way if you're trading on the TradingView platform, right? You can literally just do no math and use the order card over here to measure out take profit and stop loss based on position size. So as you can see, if I got short one mini right here with a 200 point stop loss and a 200 point take profit, I would be risking $1,000 to make $1,000, right? Maybe you say, well, I don't want to do it that way. I need my stop loss right above this high, and I want to see what it would be like trading with 3 minis. Okay, $2,500, right? Let's say you say, hey, Zach, that's cool, but I want to know how you would do it manually. How would you do that without doing that? You would do math, right? There's very little math that we have to do here, guys, but here's some of the really important stuff. Measure out using a measurement tool, which you would use right over here, where you need your stop loss to go. You could use a position tool to decide where your stop loss needs to go, right? If you're getting long right here, where your stop loss needs to go. And then what is the tick value for the contract that you're trading? I am trading YM Mini. It is a 5-point tick, $5 tick, $5 point value, okay? 200 ticks and or points in YM is $1,000, right? Simple math. If you're trading ES minis, right? Somebody let me know in the chat, what is the tick? Okay, not answering the right question. Sorry. Oh, damn, that, thanks, really. Sorry, that wasn't the right question. Well, hopefully that helps somebody else. There we go. Somebody's going to answer in the chat. Awesome. No, I don't mean, Zach, I mean, how much... I mean, like, if I wanted to find out how much you was risking on a trade, I already know because I'm watching the lives. But I was just wondering. Oh, wait. Tom, I'm sorry. I don't understand the question. I don't understand the question. Out green. Out on YM green. Nice. 100 points in the direction of our trade. I'm still hanging on to this one, guys. Kind of just drifting lower. I think we could come back up here and dance around. Dicey. Dicey here. I'm frying you. Yeah, sorry, Tom. I'm sorry, brother. You're here all the time, so I always want to answer your question. I like to answer questions the best I can. I don't understand what you're asking at this point, but yeah, you can find out maybe how much I want to risk in general, like based on what account that I'm trading. Maybe that was the question, but I don't know. Ask me in Discord. I'll come back to it. You know, how much I trade, how much I want to risk per trade based on the account. It just depends, right? You know, roughly based on win rate, risk to reward, and my risk tolerance and capital allocation, right? What I'm doing with the account. I talked about on this live account, the progression. I started out risking a much smaller amount. My goal was to just make it towards, you know, small payouts. I started to risk more, $1,000 per trade, you know, maybe a little bit more, all the way up until that, you know, long message in Discord where I talked about getting much more aggressive and the reason why, right? Risking, you know, really the DLL is my daily stop loss, is the daily loss limit. Why do you like YM over NQ or ES? Good question. Just preference. Just preference. I like the way YM moves in general. I find YM to be pretty aggressive, pretty volatile, similar to NQ. Respects levels really well. It can be a little bit difficult to work with. I do like NQ. I trade NQ. I've traded ES quite a bit as well. I find NQ to be very wicky, very momentum, a lot of momentum, very volatile, sometimes a little bit difficult to work with. Really good for larger movements and aggressive continuation of trades. Just reading some news as it comes in. ES I find a lot calmer. I think probably better for people that are, you know, maybe more just focused on tighter trending, slower moving markets. Again, just preference. Hey, buddy, appreciate the sauce for sure. Where do you anchor your profiles and VWAP from? That was a question that I missed before from the same person. You got a lot of questions today, which is good. You're giving me something to talk about. Session volume profile is anchored to session changeover. It's just automatically anchored to session changeover. So these ones are session volume profile, right? Start of the new trading session, 1800 hours, right? You can see it here for Sunday open. And then this is a visible range volume profile. It's anchored to nothing. It's just anchored to whatever visible range I'm showing on the chart. So those are the two that I run. I think a weekly volume profile is pretty helpful too. Sometimes when I'm doing some higher time frame analysis, right? Maybe for the weekly levels chart, I think a prior week volume profile, right? Where's Monday? Getting like this right here from Sunday. All of this to give you volume point of control. Value area high, value area low for the week could be helpful. Oh. When someone asked you how much you was risking and you said you can not work it out, I took it as if I'm looking at your trade. I can tell how much you're risking. I'll be honest. I think I've done too much. With Tom, in simple forms. Yes. Okay, yes, Tom. You can look at somebody else's position and tell how much they're risking. Yes, you can, right? Why? How can you tell exactly how much I'm risking? I have one, you can tell by this position, exactly, right? And which is why I trade the way that I trade live, right? You could tell where I'm short from. I got you. You could tell where I'm short from, right? Let's see, because you don't have a stop loss with a dollar amount here. You could tell exactly where I'm short from, right? 935. and how much distance is there to my take profit. Whoa. Excuse me, my stop loss. May not mess it up. Right? Exactly 199 points. Right? So if I'm trading YM minis and I have 199 point / 199 take stop loss. Sorry guys, I've been talking for too long. I have exactly $995 worth of risk on the line to that stop loss, right? That's how much I have on this position right here, right? That's how you can tell exactly how much risk somebody has on the line. If they have a stop loss in place and they're showing you what size they're trading, which is for me 1 mini right here, you can tell how much risk they have online. Hopefully that helps. But we went back and forth on that one for a while. What are your favorite prop firms for payouts? This is a good question. I'm going to ask you something. I'm going to ask you to do something, my friend, because I don't think you're in the community. I'm going to answer the question. Hop in the 100% free trading community. Anybody else wants to hop in, link is in the chat. Free 99. I not only tell you what my favorite prop firms for payouts are, I give you the best deals on all of them. Code RDF is going to get you the best deal. You can see that at the top of the screen, the bottom of the screen. But some of my favorite... Ooh, let's see, where's the headline? Volatility coming in. Where's the headline? I don't have Squawk on, so I'm probably not going to hear it as fast as everybody else. Got close to VWAP on this one. Right back up to this current volume point of control. Let's see what we get here. Top 1 futures, which is what I'm trading right now. Yeah, headlines rolling in. Top 1 futures is going to be first and foremost absolutely epic for prop firm payouts. I'm going to throw their link in the chat right now if you want to check these guys out. Best deal is going to be code RDF, 50% off. They got something new dropping today, which I'll be talking about later in Discord once it drops. Bang. Bang. Also awesome, Take Profit Trader, Lucid, Top Step, testing alpha futures. I've taken multiple payouts across multiple firms this year. Top 1 futures, all of the ones that I just listed, outside of Alpha, which I'm just getting started with. I think they're all good for different things, different traders with different styles. They all have advantages and disadvantages. But those are who I would check out if I was getting started in trading or if I was looking for different firms. Top 1 futures, Lucid, Take Profit Trader. I think that gives you a pretty wide spread with a really nice coverage between eval accounts, consistency accounts, no consistency accounts, and instant funded accounts. Everything from really high payout cap, intraday trailing drawdown, daily payouts, easy to get into daily payout accounts, easy to get into consistency accounts, instant funded accounts, everything in between. I'd check those guys out. Yeah, mediators pursue Iran-US deal in back channel diplomacy. Iranian lawmakers draft bill. Yeah, just more headlines coming out. Back and forth, man. We started to get this really, really nice pullback. I'm going to talk about this one, guys, as I'm just going to sit in it. I'm not stop loss to break even. I'm not out for 100 points of profit, which it did give me. I'm going to hold on to this one. I want to see some continuation out of this to the downside. I want to see VWAP. I want to see this next volume point of control. Just taking a look at ES and NQ, which have really not pulled back at all. Just hung out by the highs. I'm going to hang on to this one, guys. This is my game plan. Looking really down into the low 700s at this one. That's what I'd like to see. Down in here. for a W. If we have to break the high and run higher, I'm probably going to be out for a stop loss. This is definitely something I'm looking to hold on to. If we aggressively came through VWAP, I could consider a stop loss to break even move just to talk through all of my trade management, right? If we came aggressively down here, right, and I didn't close out, I didn't take profit, at that point, I'd probably look to do that. But outside of that, I'm just going to hold on to this one. Diamond hands it. That's my game plan. But yes, I just it's all good, Tom. It's all good, Tom. Listen, guys, this is a great conversation. I got a winning trade on. I'm going to leave it running. If I do manage it, I will try to call it out in Discord. I got a couple of things going on later today. I got a couple meetings I got to hop on. So no guarantees. You can see where my potential take profit area is, what I'm talking about. You can see my entry. You can see my stop loss. I talked about where I would potentially go stop loss to break even. You know, into the close like Friday, you could have an idea if I'm still short where the market closes out and my final position. But I will attempt to call this out in Discord the same way that I did on Friday when I ended the stream with a trade on, because this looks like it's going to be a long hold going into a couple hours now. Very few likes on the stream. Yeah, smash the like if you guys like. Tapped into a bearish fair value gap. Yeah. Longed as the news was released. Caught a nice move in 2 minutes. Nice. Listen, guys, I see we got 67 people on here. And a whole bunch on Kick and a whole bunch on X. I appreciate you guys. Here's my note. Number 1. If you're not in the free Discord, hop in the free Discord. It's pinned to all the chats. Giveaways rolling in Discord. Email newsletter with all my letters, with all my levels and letters. Questions answered. The best prop firm deals. Like I said, more giveaways on here. Awesome community of traders. More than happy to have you guys in there. Use code RDF at all your favorite firms, all the ones we were talking about today. You're going to get the best deal, and you're going to get entries to win more prop firm accounts. Along with that, I will be here live tomorrow, 9:15 a.m. Eastern. No giveaway on the live stream today, but before you go, let me put your mind at ease. We're going to do one tomorrow. Spirit fingers, guys. I usually don't say it early. We'll do one tomorrow. I can't do one every day. I've been doing way too many of them all over. I'm doing them in Discord. I'm doing them on X. I'm doing them on IG. I'm doing way too many of them. We have one running right now in Discord. Hop in. I actually have multiple running in Discord because if you rank up in Discord, you're going to get more giveaways. But we're going to run some giveaways here on the live stream tomorrow as well. Random days, random times on the live streams. And then across all of the platforms, just tune into that platform and you'll see when it happens. Appreciate you guys hopping on here. I'm going to be sitting short, seeing if we can't get some continuation to the downside, see if we can't make some money in the live account. Appreciate you guys hopping on. Thanks for being here. I will see you in Discord. I'll see you back here tomorrow, 9:15 a.m. Eastern. Trade well, trade safe. Pay attention to what we got going on. Maybe look at some headlines, see what we got going on. Appreciate you guys. Quick disclaimer, I'm not a financial advisor. I don't provide financial advice. Nothing I say or do is suggestion or recommendation to do anything at all. Make sure you always read your own. Make sure you always do your own research. Make your own trading decisions. Read CFTC Rule 4.41 on simulated trading, which is what this is, even in funded prop from accounts. And the affiliate partnership disclaimer. This is how I stand to make money from links and codes in my content, like Top 1 Futures code RDF, Bookmap, and others. I'm supposed to end the stream here, but I think we might break to the downside here. I'm going to have to end it, guys. I appreciate you for being here. Thank you. I see nobody left yet. I'll see you guys in Discord. I'll keep you guys updated. I'll talk to you in there and run through the channels in there. I got more and more updates coming. Yap it up. Get active and rank up in there as well. Automated ranking leveling system in there. All right, guys. Talk to you in Discord.